Good morning, everybody. This is our inspirational thought for the day, and it's based on a poem that I wrote, The Way of Heaven. And just saying to Catherine, it's a bit strange because it mentions the way, which is kind of like, for me anyway, it's Christian because it's I am the way, the truth and the life, Jesus said. But also at the time, and it isn't one that's based on the Tao Te Ching, the Tao Te Ching keeps talking about the way. And look where we are now in the end of 2021. This was written at the end of 2018. 3 years later, I had no knowledge. It wasn't even a twinkle in your eye, was it, Catherine, the way in 2018, or had you already started thinking about the community at that point? I'm looking down here at Catherine because she's on the screen there. So yeah, I found this last night and thought this is the one that I'm going to use today. So it's the way of heaven. In nature, you can see a pattern. How long does a strong wind blow? Gentle breezes and stillness follow. Storms are unsustainable. They dissipate. Talk, don't shout. Let your silence roar. A downpour of rain doesn't last. The clouds empty. The earth is replenished. The dryness begins. Whisper, don't talk. Let silence be your hallmark. Let your ways be the way of heaven. Let divine power flow through you. Let nature be still. Instead, be strong in the way. Don't let your life force fail. Be one with the way. Be one with the way. Okay. Let everything fall into place. Trust your inner voice. Listen carefully to it. You were meant to be. You are a child of heaven. It's just so joyous. It's just so lovely.
That's beautiful.
But it's giving me the tingles as we've got a face at the window and waving back. It's joyous because I see it in a different context now that I'm part of this community called the Way. And it's like somewhere in between, for me anyway, it's somewhere in between the teachings, I am the way, the truth and the life, and Cyril having written a poem for each of the 81 verses. I'm aware of Lao Tzu's the way, there is a right way to be. And I don't associate myself with either Lao Tzu entirely or with Jesus entirely. I'm just following the way, and I find that the way is here. It's in my heart. It's got nothing to do with any major religion or major teachings. It's something that I discover in my heart, the way for my life, and it's going to be different for you, the way for your life, but we're all journeying along the way. you see, we're not traveling the exact same journey, but we have a desire to realize that for all that nature, this big wind and the big storms and the downpour of rain, there's all that noisiness of nature. There's also this silence. I think we've talked about this before, haven't we, Catherine, about the way that it's in the quietness. You were sat in the eye of the storm, weren't you? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was. That was an amazing experience. I actually was doing a yoga and then a meditation, and I sat and a storm just came out of nowhere. And what I realized is that as I became calm, I was like sort of in the eye of the storm, but it just, the storm disappeared. and the actual raging of the winds and the rain and everything, I just was oblivious to it. And it just showed me how powerful, how powerful we are, but also how when you remain calm in the eye of the storm, eventually you do become it disappears out of your radar, off your radar. And similarly to anything that's raging outside of ourselves, if we're calm inside, eventually that dies down. And you are the calmness to which people and things can attach.
Yeah, people need that that calming. You know, when you're in the middle of a crisis situation, that calm voice really helps you to get through it. If somebody goes, "Oh, whoa, what's happening to you?" You go, "Yeah, it's terrible, it's terrible." But if in the middle of your storm somebody comes in and says, "It'll be okay, just come and sit here with me, have a cup of tea."
How beautiful that is.
That
You
is
put it
so
well.
much more calming than yeah. So again, you know, the poem itself, it's 3 years, well, nearly 3 years before I was aware of the online community the way, and aware of that story that you told me before, Catherine, about sitting in the eye of the storm and the stillness. This poem talks about exactly that. You know,
it's actually beautiful. It's perhaps we should look at putting that somewhere more prominent than in the signpost as well, because it actually describes what we are. And what I do like as well is that it's saying we are all individual. We're all following our own path. Yeah. And what is beautiful is that exactly what is right for me is not necessarily right for someone else, because each are on their own journey. But as the flow of life goes on, the attachments to the love, that to me is the unchanging point. The love is the unchanging point. Everybody can and does grow in their own way, but the way being the love is the attachment that is, to me, never changes. It's the unchangeable.
So there's no other point in being here than being an individual. I think you need to become an individual, you know, fully fledged, self-aware person before you can realize that you're part of the oneness. Because if you don't know what bit you are of this, I talk about, I think it's Wayne Dyer first, I heard him say, if you take a bucket of water out of the ocean, it's still the ocean in the bucket. And we are a bucket full of God. But each little bit of the ocean is slightly different to the other parts of it. It's still the ocean. It's still the oneness. But, you know, why did you show up? Why are you here? What is your calling, your dharma, your reason, the raison d'etre, your reason for being here? What is it that you're bringing? It's that Cat Stevens song, "So Very Young." What will you leave us this time? You're only dancing on the earth for a short while. It's that, you know, it's finding out who you are as the individual before you can then finally be lost back into the oneness, because then you know how you relate to the other parts. So let your ways be the way of heaven, let divine power flow through you. It's saying there is a you. And it's an illusion. The you is an actual illusion because you're actually part of the whole. But for within this 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional world that we're in, space and time, you have a part to play, and you need to let God breathe through you. Let the source energy breathe through you. That's your part of this plan. And that's why you need to walk your own road. Yes, there are fellow travelers, but you need to walk your own road. And that's what my understanding is of what the online community, the way is for, is to help people to walk their own path. It's not so that we can all march in step like some goose-stepping army. That's not it. You know, it's whatever you're here to bring on planet Earth, we want to support that. And the hallmark of it all, the thing that unites everything together, all these different paths, these different ways, which it becomes the way, is love. As we keep talking about love, this is the again, Catherine, you talk about this strong pole, like in the middle, that you can hold on to, that certainty. Everybody's looking for certainty in the storm, and it's that tower of love, that ability to just hold on and know that there is something that's going to outlast all the physical universe, and it resides in us, in each and every one of us, this love. So I don't know if you can tell us something about that. What was you had another vision there, did you, about the centrality of love and how you can rely on it and hold onto it?
I think that what came to me when you were saying that, it reminded me of the time when I thought I'd made a big boo-boo, and I stepped into the, oh no, how stupid, I stepped into the not good enough element. And I had a vision of walking across a bridge and looking down. It was one of these like Indiana Jones type bridge with the water raging underneath. And in the vision, I looked down and I saw, and that was the equivalent of what had happened in my life. I'd looked down and I'd stepped into the fear element of, or noticing what might happen, that the waters were raging. But over the other side, I mean, I've been skipping along this bridge, and over the other side, I saw the beautiful land that was waiting. I even saw a hammock that was waiting for me to jump into in the sunshine, and along the bridge, other people were there, and you'd said to me, Andrew, you sort of said, okay, it's okay, it doesn't matter, nothing, it's not. It was something about a Zoom meeting that I'd not recorded, and you say it's fine. It was a good Zoom meeting, but there'll be others. And in the vision, someone had stopped to just hold my hand. Now that to me is you, with the words that you said. It's just holding your hand along the bridge, that we're all crossing the bridge, and somebody says the right thing to you, they literally hold your hand. And while you and in that moment, I steadied myself and then started skipping back across the bridge, and that to me represented the same sort of thing. It's just somebody holding that love, holding that presence, and saying everything's fine. And in that moment, you realise that the importance of it is the lesson. The lesson that you learn is actually the important part, and then growing through it and moving past it, and that people will support you while you're on your bridge, which is what we're doing. Yeah. And that's what I remember when you were speaking.
People may misunderstand at first and think, oh, it's like another cult, or it's not. It's just fellow travelers holding each other's hands and saying it's going to be okay. Because even if it's not okay, we're here, and we're going to be there for you in your trouble. The bridge over troubled water. We're going to be there for you, and at other times we're going to need you to do the same for us. That's all it is. It's a community of love, helping people to walk their own way, not our way, not the way that we dictate. We're just where people gather. It's just like the meeting room. The way is the meeting room for people to support each other, to love each other, and to be there for each other. So I'm going to read this poem again, and then we can sort of the broadcast at that point.
Okay.
So this is the way of heaven. In nature, you can see a pattern. How long does a strong wind blow? Gentle breezes and stillness follow. Storms are unsustainable. They dissipate. Talk, don't shout. Let your silence roar. A downpour of rain doesn't last. The clouds empty. The earth is replenished. The dryness begins. Whisper, don't talk. Let silence be your hallmark. Let your ways be the way of heaven. Let divine power flow through you. Let nature be still. Instead, be strong in the way. Don't let your life force fail. Be one with the way. Let everything fall into place. Trust your inner voice. Listen carefully to it. You were meant to be. You are a child of heaven. Namaste.
Beautiful.